Welcome to the show, where we discuss time-tested and science-supported tools for better health, long life, and pleasures. If stress and anxiety or depression affects your relationships, career, love life, or well-being, if you feel tired of life, unsatisfied or unhappy, then watch this episode and discover how you can use the power of your mind to create a happier and more enjoyable state of mind without any medication. I'm Lillian Zeltzer, and for over 3 decades, I have been researching, practicing, and hunting for natural stimulants for better health, longevity, and pleasures. In the process, I met numerous amazing experts and discovered many wonderful time-tested and science-supported do-it-yourself recipes, which I share in this show with those who want to be in charge of their own life. Because as Hippocrates said in the 4th century BC, if you are not your own doctor, you are a fool. Our guest today is Albert Nerenberg, an extraordinary hypnotist and laphologist who has countless credits to his name in hypnotherapy, laphology, and film industry. Welcome to the show, Albert.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Hypnotherapy and laphology had been used for thousands of years to improve people's mood, life, reduce pain, accelerate recovery from illnesses. It's nowadays used in Western medicine as well. But many people still attach to it hocus pocus label. What made you choose this profession?
Good question. I think you're right. I think people still, even though I think there's a lot of evidence, scientific, that explains the way hypnosis works and the healing impact of hypnosis, it is still viewed by some as witchcraft, demonic, or even as just being a kind of woo-woo kind of fantasy. And that's a very, very common belief. In fact, even on Wikipedia, there's a reference to stage hypnosis where they suggest that stage hypnosis is entirely fake. It's all fake. It's all theater. None of it's real, which is just amazing to me. This is Wikipedia that saying like that's what it is, and it's not. It's entirely the opposite. Hypnosis is real. The effects of hypnosis are real. And I just don't want to bore your audience with a long story, but I would say there's a few reasons why people are uncertain. One is that it affects people differently. So some people go into very deep trance, get hypnotized very quickly, very hard, and other people don't. So in medicine, people are often interested in a universal response. They want to believe that it affects everybody the same way. So when you have this situation where some are deeply affected and some are not, that confuses people. The second reason is that hypnosis can treat so many things: stress, anxiety, trauma, PTSD, it goes on, pain, that it is in competition with many of the legitimate so-called healing modalities, from medicine to psychology. So people, I think, are threatened by hypnotherapy, and it's just because people, famously, the medical industry jealously protects its territory. It's just a fact. So, but it's a very exciting and intriguing place to work and to experience as well.
And can I say that you would choose it all over again if you lived again?
you asked me how I actually got into it. I didn't answer your question. I apologize. So very quick story. I was never, some people like they grow up thinking I want to be a performer or a hypnotist or something like that. I did not feel that way. I was a reporter, an investigative reporter. I did documentaries, and I did a documentary about the events of September 11th in New York City. And it was a very, very traumatic film. And the imagery was very traumatic, the pictures. So I had an experience where I saw pictures, I won't go into detail, of people dying that got burned into my brain. And I couldn't get them out of my brain. And I noticed that it was causing me anxiety. I wasn't able to sleep. It was the last thing I saw when I went to sleep. Sometimes I would wake up with it. And so I recognized that I had sort of obsessive thoughts. And I happened just to see an ad on the internet that said, do you have obsessive thoughts that you can't get out of your head? Free phone call. And I had a bit of time. I thought, okay, I'll call this number. And I call this guy, and he basically runs what I don't even know what hypnosis is at this point, but he runs a hypnotic protocol on me. And in 30 minutes, this problem that I've had for 6 months instantly disappears right away. So I didn't even quite understand what it was, but then after that I decide I have to learn how to do this, because I've never had a healing of any kind happen so quickly in my life.
So I can say that your wish to use self-hypnosis prompted you to go into this profession.
It was getting healed from I think one of the number one reasons why people avoid therapy is not the conventional views that they're threatened. They don't want to deal with their demons or their problems. But I actually just think it's convenience. I just think nobody wants to go and sit in a room for weeks on end and slowly maybe hope that they improve. And when I had this experience, this healing experience that really took half an hour, and it was so dramatic and it reversed my emotional state, I was like, this is more my cup of tea. And I would say it's still, now when I do hypnotherapy, hypnosis, it is always very fast. It is always very direct. And I believe that healing can be a rapid process. And if you feel that you have easy access to it, you're much more likely to do it.
Yes, I read somewhere that hypnosis works only on people who believe in the power of hypnotists to put a spell on your brain. Sort of. Is it
Put a
true?
spell on your brain. I like that thing. Put a spell on your brain. It's hard to explain, but no, but hypnosis can work on people that are resistant to hypnosis. It is true. Look, there are people, there's a test called the Spiegel test. And I don't pass the Spiegel test, which is where you ask people to you put your hand on people's heads like this, and you have them look up. You could do the test right now. You just put your hand on the top of your head, and then I ask you, please stare at where your finger is touching your head. Without moving your head, you just want to stare. So you just look up. You look up as hard as you can, basically. See, now in your case, you do not pass the Spiegel test. If you pass, your eyes would become completely white, kind of like The Exorcist.
Oh.
And then in general, I would know that you would be a very quick hypnotic subject. I could just say a few words and you would go right into trance. So about 25% of the population passes that test. And the other 75, they can be hypnotized. It just takes more time, different techniques, and they won't necessarily go as deep as fast. That's the important thing.
Well, that is fascinating. You know, as a child, I was nicknamed Mirror Doll because I used to love making faces in the mirror and laughing at my reflection at every opportunity because it made me feel happy. Does smiling what does smiling do to your brain? And why does self-inflicted happiness or laughter can work on us as well as naturally occurred smiles and laughter?
Okay, you've brought up a great point. So this is more the laughology business, and I would say, there's a really, I call it, there's a psychological term called affect. Affect is that we are affected by the outward expression of our emotions. So I made a documentary about this. It's called You Are What You Act. And so what they discovered is when you outwardly express an emotion, it actually biases your brain. So for example, they discovered that if you put your fingers up like this, which is a positive gesture, you tend to feel more optimistic. You tend to feel, and if you look through your fingers, so to speak, you tend to see the world more positively. That is the law of affect, where I affect the world or my perception of the world through my behavior. If I smile, so there's a study that says that when you smile, you find more things to smile about. So I go through the world. So you doing that exercise, looking in the mirror, this is one thing that people don't understand. You are allowed to practice positive emotions. You should practice positive emotions. We are not taught that. We are taught that we should only feel what we feel and we shouldn't moderate them. And that's because people have an irrational fear of theatrical exercises. I think because they are generally taught badly in school, and so we don't enjoy theater. But really, everybody should be encouraged to. So I'll give you an example. There's a new practice which I recommend to all your listeners called wolfing, which is a really good example of affect. Wolfing is the idea that you should wake up laughing. Wake up laughing. Why? Now, it sounds ridiculous, but it is such a good practice. I wolf every morning. Every morning. I don't think I've missed it for a long time. And I'll tell you why. So every morning when you wake up, your body alters your body chemistry. It pumps a hormone into your blood. Guess which hormone is pumped into your blood every morning before you wake up?
I know about endorphins.
Yeah, painkillers. Cortisol. It's cortisol.
Absolutely.
So your body pumps you full of the stress hormone, cortisol, to wake you up. And I think there's a simple explanation for this. Now, I don't think it's studied a lot or explained a lot, but when we lived in the jungle, we faced many threats. And if I see a tiger before I go to sleep, I should assume that the tiger might be around when I wake up. So the cortisol, seeing a tiger, stress, and then I wake up in the morning, my brain goes, tiger, stress, right away. So we are built to be vigilant in the morning. Now, let me explain why this matters. Because a lot of people, when they wake up in the morning, will describe feelings of dread. Even happy people will say that in the morning they feel like, they say, don't talk to me until I've had 12 coffees. Or they will talk about feelings of anxiety or dread, and they have dark thoughts. And here's the explanation. I think this is a theory, but my theory is that when you wake up with high cortisol, this is affect. I am putting out cortisol. So I will see things that are problems, like that plant is dying, or it's raining outside, or I forgot to pay the bill, or whatever it is, you'll see that stresses. So where does wolfing come in? So wolfing was developed by an American woman named Tiffany Caudill, who was very chronically depressed. And she got to the point where she would wake up in the morning and she didn't enter with these terrible feelings, even though her life was okay. On paper, there was nothing really wrong with her life, and she couldn't understand the dread. So she just started laughing, and she noticed she just felt better, happier, lighter. And so I heard about this, and I came along and we did a presentation that I recommend people look at, where because of the cortisol awakening response, laughing in the morning is a really good idea, because there's a third study that demonstrates one of the fastest ways to metabolize cortisol is by laughing. Laughing turns cortisol into something else. So when you laugh, the cortisol drops back down. Suddenly your world is kind of a nice place. Plus, because of the law of affect, if I wake up laughing, so I start my morning off by laughing, then I'm going to notice that the world is more of a funny place, a place that I will want to laugh about. And that, once again, is the law of affect. And so I recommend, first of all, I recommend it's a good idea to have a morning practice, that's not just coffee. But if you can laugh first thing in the morning, and there's like a workshop video that explains to you how you do it, called wolfing, it is a game-changing habit.
Well, a part of positive emotional effect, wolfing probably would be acting as good aerobic exercise that increases oxygen supply to our internal organs and brain. How loud should we laugh to maximize this effect?
I think this is the actual challenge. So when people hear this, they go, "Oh yeah, sure, that sounds great. I should laugh first thing." But how do you actually do it? I can show you the exercise. There's a really beautiful exercise called the gradient laugh, and it's sort of like an exercise in having faith in yourself, because the way it works is that you very gently, I'll do it with you. We can do it together. We very, very gently make the sound ha ha ha, because ha 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 is like the basic sound of laughter. It's one of the universal building blocks of laughter. And if ha ha ha, and we make it very quietly, and we just gradually get louder, as gentle as we can. So this is me waking up. It's kind of me waking up in the morning. I'm not feeling so good, and I just go and I gradually get louder. I remember to breathe.
It's contagious.
Now, I want to say something, because people will say, "Yeah, but it's an exercise. It's inauthentic. You just did that on purpose," because we really believe in the value of spontaneous laughter. And I agree with the value of spontaneous laughter. In fact, there's an exercise trend called laughter yoga, where people train themselves to laugh and to do laughter exercise. I think it's great, but they say something which I don't think is true. When they train people to do laughter yoga, they say, your body doesn't know the difference between fake laughter and real laughter. So go ahead and fake laugh all you want. But actually, I looked at the research, and your body does know the difference between fake laughter and real laughter. We do prefer real laughter, but exercise laughter is pretty good. It's a bit similar to jogging. I bet that it would be better if you got chased by a lion and you ran for your life. That would be better exercise than just jogging. But jogging is still pretty good. You don't need a lion to chase you. And
in case of self-hypnosis, you actually have power of putting yourself in a state you want at the time when you want.
Yeah.
And it is amazing tool. Well, they say that laughter makes you live longer, but if you can actually use it as a tool to prolong your life through self-hypnosis, it's a power.
That's right. I would take it a step further. Laughter doesn't just prolong your life. it makes relationships better. That's a very clear one. Couples that laugh together stay together. And also, it is also good in friendships. It is actually, laughter may be the element of friendship. I'll give you an example. If you laugh with people really hard, they feel like friends, even if you've just met them. It's something about human psychology. So laughter, yes, makes you live longer, strengthens your immune system, and is particularly important in relationships. There's actually a really good exercise that I recommend too. So if you're in a couple and you find that you argue once in a while, which all couples do, then this is a really fun, this exercise comes from laughter yoga, where you basically repeat things or say things that are kind of part of your arguments. Like, you're too judgmental. But the way you do it is you laugh like this. You go, ha, 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 ha. Oh, you're so judgmental. Ha, 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 ha. Or, you laugh with the stresses of the relationship. And that experience can help de-stress the arguments. It's very interesting. Laughter is a de-stressing behavior. Not distress, but de-stress. So to answer your question about self-hypnosis, I would say, I look at hypnosis as a programming system, and like a bit like we're computers and we need better programming. And so self-hypnosis to laugh is literally like making the decision to laugh. Like I tell people, I train people in laughter technique, and they always say, what's the best like laughter technique? There's laughter size, there's laughology, there's laughter yoga. I say the best technique is when you feel like laughing, laugh as hard as you can, like really go for it. That's the best technique, because you will experience genuine laughter, and just don't hold back. That's what's important.
Well, laughter and self-hypnosis can be applied to many areas of our life. But the main thing that we establish that it exists and it works. However, if you are not able to master it by yourself, then you should reach out for professional help to a hypnotist like our guest. On this note, on behalf of our viewers and myself, I would like to thank you, Albert, for your time and for sharing your expertise with us. And I hope to see you again on our show to share your knowledge of self-hypnosis application to love life, to our sensuality, to relationships, and many other areas. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. It was really fun to do this. I had some good laughs.
I'm starting now. Thank you, Albert.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you won't miss any of the new episodes. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions, please put them below the video. I do read them. If you are looking for a good, reliable source of specific ingredients, experts, services, or products, click on the resources link under this video. To health, long life, and pleasures.